Welcome back, beautiful soul. I am going to cover the topic of how I know it's my intuition today. And I think this is important because a lot of things that I've covered in previous episodes where a lot of things can be tripping us up in feeling like we're getting intuitive guidance or information, but actually might not be. So I'll get into that in a moment. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jamie Ehrenberg with Idlewild Retreats, and this is my journey of following my intuition and becoming my truest self. So how do I know it's my intuition? I've shared in the previous videos those 4 different ways that intuition typically comes in for people. And when that information comes in, typically, even if it's a no, it's expansive or rooted. And I'll give a little bit more of an explanation of that. When I feel you're totally supposed to do this, there is like this expansion in my body. And for me, that's almost like a widening. My shoulders move back a bit, my heart comes forward, and sometimes there's warm sensations that come with that, but it's this openness in my body, as opposed to an intuitive no, which I will still feel centered. So it's like my root is feeling grounded and connected in the earth. I am feeling calm, and it's just a quick, nope, that's not for me. I'll give an example of a yes. Actually, Amanda Horvath, that I referenced before, when I did a human design for my brand call with her, she was like, yeah, I think that you might be ready for a YouTube channel to have a better opportunity to share your voice. And 2 things happened when she said that. I immediately knew, yes, I'm supposed to be sharing these stories more than I am, and not just on other platforms that aren't quite the right length or speed of focus when people are paying attention. It's like, oh yeah, I know that there's something here. I wasn't sure if it's a podcast or a YouTube channel. And then I also got that kind of closed up in me. And pretty quickly that, oh man, that feels like a lot. I'm trying to do this and this and this. So this is April, earlier this year. And I am launching this channel in September, recording this in September. And I was like, oh, yep, I can't actually hold this right now. But if I listen to my first intuitive hit, which was in my body, that was that opening, it was a yes. And then my brain started going, and it was like, oh, I can't do this yet. I don't know. There's so much I need to learn. There's so much. And it went, boop. And so that is an example of a yes in the body, even though it's followed up with fear or doubt or my ego or my head. And I'll explain that a little bit more. But when I feel a no in my body, it is from a super centered place. Like it could be, no does not have to mean it's not intuitive, if that makes sense. It is just that this is not for me at this time, and I'm doing this because it's not in alignment for me at this time. It might be later, it might not be, but it's a no. And that's okay too, but it's not a no because blah, 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 blah. It is a, nope, that's not for me. And for me, again, that is either a sensation or a knowing. Those are my 2 strongest intuitive senses. And so that's usually how it comes in. Actually, the no's usually are in that knowing that, nope, this is not for me at this time. So that's how I can feel both of those polarities in my body. And it's something that we have to actually get to know within our bodies of like, am I coming at this from a centered place? And am I actually able to consider what this is? Or am I anxious? Is something happening in my world right now that is just my mind's working so hard? I'm planning this, I'm thinking about this. And so something comes in, some information comes in. It could be by a person, it could be a sign, it could be just an inspiration, or watching a YouTube video, and the I could never do that. I don't have time for that. This is really not convenient. When you get a no that is from ego or fear, it's often met with a lot of that chatter. There's a lot of giving you reasons. Your intuition won't give you reasons. It is often, sometimes it almost feels anxious, or it feels, like your thoughts are looping, kind of like it's really when my mind is anxious or my nervous system is off, I will just think about things for too long, and those are not intuitive hits. So it could be that you're like, oh yeah, I can't do that because blah 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 blah, and your mind is rattling on, or you might even feel completely disconnected from your body. I have a whole program called Attunement. If you are interested in being able to practice in a group with getting to understand what the body signals are saying for you, how to work with the nervous system, check that out. Being able to be in the body when knowing if something's for you or not. So again, even if it's a no, that you're in the body, you're sinking down, you're lower in your body and you're not up here. It could even be your heart. It could be, your second or first chakra, but it's not usually up here when it's a knowing or intuitive hit. And again, there's usually just a lot more explanation of why or why not, even with the yeses. I should say that too, that sometimes I really want something to happen. I felt this at the beginning of the year, where I was trying to get some guidance and trying to get some insight from Mother Earth, from my guides, and I was getting what my ego wanted to hear. I was getting that message, and I was not asking that question from a centered place. And there's a big difference. If you're trying to see if something's for you or not, and trusting your body's wisdom, your intuition, your higher self, likely you'll want to close your eyes or soften your gaze, have your feet on the ground, take some breaths that allow you to just connect with your body. I know breath doesn't work for everybody, but at least to calm yourself down. It's usually, if you're really anxious, it's definitely not the time to ask for any intuitive guidance, at least not through yourself. You could ask through other people, but not through yourself, so that you're able to be slower and to be in your body. And I just keep saying drop down. It's like getting out of your head and feeling the sensations in your body, coming into some stillness and being able to connect with all that, even though you're physically still, your energy, your emotions, all the things, and from that place, able to know if something is for you or not for you. Wanted to make sure to spend a little bit more time on that, because there are, like I said, I experienced that earlier this year when I really wanted something to happen, and it was completely my ego self, or as one of my teachers, Sabrina Lynn with Rewilding, says, my little self, my ego, is trying to control things, and it's trying to make things work out the way it would feel good and safe for me. And earlier this year, it was like, yep, that's gonna work, it's gonna work, and I wasn't coming from a grounded place when I was tapping into that information. It did not work. And that's okay. It was all part of the growth I was doing this spring, really integrating a lot of this transformation, Pluto and Aquarius energy, which I'm going to get into more shortly, but it wasn't a grounded place, because I really wanted something to happen, because that felt meaningful or successful to me, aligned in my mind to me, and it wasn't what was supposed to be happening. And so it didn't, and yet I had gotten the messages that it was supposed to. And so I have to remind myself of that a lot too, of, am I asking this or getting this information while I'm in a grounded space, a centered space? Like, do I feel connected to myself, or is my mind really busy and trying to make me think something is or isn't for me, because probably there's fear. some level of fear or safety, security that's being tested if it does or doesn't. It's another one of my notes about knowing if this is truly your intuition. It typically comes flatly. It just is. There's no excitement, there's no sadness, there is no high energy, and there is no depression. It's stand in your power, stand in your frequency, your expanded state, and walk through the world like this. That was my message that I got this morning from my higher self. It's just, this delivery is flat, I want to say. It's not like up here, it's not down here, it's just this is. And I'm not putting an expectation on it either. So I want to say that that's important. I really want to encourage, while you're playing with, listening to your intuition more, that you are both keeping notes and keeping some track of this, as well as practicing, truly just actually practicing and letting it happen. You know, the last video I talked about picking a restaurant or walking around your neighborhood one way or another, being led by your intuition. Things that are low stakes, practicing is going to really allow you to have that solidness in your body of when the messages coming through are actually that higher self, that divine guidance, and not fear and ego. And even with lots of practice, because of where I was with my own transition and my transformation earlier this year, I still didn't get it right, which is just all learning. So it just is this building this trust and this relationship with both which way you get your intuition or which ways, and then practicing those. I know I mentioned her before, but Nikki Renfro, one of the things she said was to just pick one, even if you feel multiple, and she was talking about psychic gifts, but she was saying even if you feel like you have multiples, just pick one to practice. So if you hear and you see and you feel, maybe just pick one of them and try that out so that you can kind of hone in and isolate and strengthen that muscle of your intuition, of that specific type of intuition, so that it's not like, oh, well, I saw something, oh, and I heard something, and oh, I felt something, but they might not all be telling you the same things, but you can just continue to practice so that you know, and I keep doing this, of like what's true for you and what's in alignment for you. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get. I would love to know what your practices are, what intuition type you have, and or what you're learning. And not necessarily about what I'm saying specifically, but what you're learning about yourself. I would really love to see that. And I put this offer in before. If you are hearing me talk about something that you want to dive deeper into, please let me know. Just go ahead and drop that in the comments too. It's helpful to know what you're interested in hearing more about. I've got a slew of things I want to cover, but your interest in something might bump that up in line, or it might not even be on my radar, but it is. I'm a projector in human design, so being invited, getting your comments about what you want to hear more about is really, really helpful for me. I love to hear it. And you heard me in the last episode talk about that too. My friend Christine asking to hear more about how to connect with spirit guides and tell the difference and who I'm connecting with. And so that's a video that's coming up in a couple of recordings. So look forward to seeing your comments, hearing how this is working for you. I'd really love to hear like what you're practicing, what your intuitive type is, or intuition type is. And also, if you want to keep following along, please like and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. And I really look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for being here, and sending you lots of love.